On the 29th of July, I found myself in Scotland in a room full of new friends. As we talked around the fireplace, the conversation shifted to me and to my interest in magic. And so I was asked to show them something. And I did. I took a deck of cards and I performed something that I have performed hundreds of times before. But this time was different. For some reason, it felt so much more memorable, more interesting, more real. And there's a reason I still remember it. You see, this didn't feel like every other performance I've ever done where I show someone a trick and they enjoy it and I move on. It may sound trite, but it kind of felt like everything came together into one moment to make it much more memorable and real. And so it stuck in my head, and I still haven't stopped thinking about it. What was it that made that moment so much more memorable? Spanish magician Arturo de Ascanio once said, "Magic, as an art, is an act of love." And it stuck out to me. The more I've thought about that, the more I've realised how true it is. You see, as a magician, I've spent countless hours practicing, rehearsing, creating magic to produce a moment that is as impactful as possible. And it's difficult to realise this, but when you're watching a magician, you're watching the product of hundreds, if not thousands of hours, all boiled down to that single moment. The second half of that quote reads, "I'm convinced. Love for magic, love for the beauty of magic, love for the audience, and love for the act of communicating that beauty to them." And although not all magicians have motives that pure, the second half of that quote still rings true. And so, when you think about it, magic's defining purpose exists in that moment, the moment you show them something. And as I've let this sit with me, I've realised that there's a disconnect. I spend all my time working on sleight of hand and presentations, but when I actually arrive at that crucial moment, my thoughts are elsewhere. I'm too busy thinking about the moves that I'm doing and how to make things look good for the camera and for the person in front of me. In reality, I think magic in its purest form is when we are right there with them. All the moves and the presentation fades into muscle memory, and yet is still shaped by the moment as it forms. It's a space of true human connection, where two different people can experience the same moment in unique ways. And it's the reason why that moment, that performance in Scotland, has still stuck with me to this day. I had somehow accidentally created a moment of magic in its purest form. And I'll never be able to recreate it. But nor do I want to, because the river will never be the same, and neither will I.